Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. In this video, we are recreating this altered book of pockets, and basically what it is an altered book, and we're making pockets, and we're making 42 pockets to be exact. I'm going to do a detailed flip through at the end of the video, but I just quickly wanted to show you what it is. So as you can see, we've made all of these pockets and filled them up with all sorts of ephemera and stuff. And then the idea is for you to have this book maybe sitting on your desk when you're making projects, so you have bits and pieces to pull out, or you can make something like this, fill it up with all sorts of goodies and then sell it in your shop. I think it's a really fun thing to purchase and a really fun thing to make. So what we're going to do is a full tutorial on making all of the different types of pockets that you've just seen. I have a diagram here that I'm going to share with you so you have it for future reference. We're going to talk about the best kind of book to use for this project. We're going to go through removing the pages, how many pages to remove, all of that stuff. We are going to make the pockets, and then at the end I will do a detailed flip through of this so you can get ideas on how to embellish and what to add into the pockets. And also, of course, I will talk about the cover as well. All right, let's get started with the tutorial. All right, let's first talk about what kind of a book is best to use for this project. So I have three here to show you. Let's start off with this one. This one is a Reader's Digest book, and you can see here that the book has not been bound, but rather it has been glued. So you can see that it's glued in that spine, and that's something that you don't want, because when you have a weight of pockets and things in pockets, it's very easy for the pages to start coming undone, and you don't want that because your book will fall apart. Okay, so you don't want the glued binding. Next one I've got here, you can see at first sight it seems like this book has been sewn into the cover, into the spine I mean. By the way, my books are all discarded books from the library, so don't get mad. All right, so it looks like it has been sewn into the spine, but it's actually been glued. And you can see a lot of that glue in there as well. And you can see how when I open it like this, it just cracks. And that's not a good book for pockets. Let's see if I can try and find a middle here. Because it looks like the pages were placed into signatures and then glued in rather than sewn in. Whereas these pages here, they've just been glued. They're not placed into signatures. So I just want to see what this looks like in the middle. All right, so that's the middle of my signature, and you can see that glue seeping there. So when you want to do an altered book, it doesn't have to be pockets. It can be like an altered book that you use for art journaling, and you start removing pages. When you have a book that's been glued in, that's not going to hold for very long, especially when you start removing pages. Things are going to start to fall out, especially if you have heavy things, you know, in pockets and like even glued on top of the pages. So you instead want to look for a book that has been bound or sewn into the cover. The spine, I keep saying the cover. And the best way to know is you can have a look at this one. It's not the best example. I'll show you this one so you can see. You can clearly see that there are signatures in there because they're not single pages. They're one long page that's been folded in half, okay? And then if you're not sure if the book has been bound or glued, you have to try and find the middle of the signature. So you can see here. I found the middle of the signature, and when you open it, you should be able to see the sewing. See? The sewing. This is the kind of book that you need. Even better if you can find a book that has somewhat sturdy pages, like this, as opposed to, for example, this book. Okay, so these pages are very brittle because it's very old. You don't want very brittle pages. And there's a difference between pages. You have some books, Reader's Digest usually have quite thin, thin paper. And then there's books that have quite a sturdy paper. So it would be better to use a sturdy paper book. All right, so today I'm going to use this book for my project. And the next thing we're going to talk about is removing pages. So remember how I said about the middle of the signature? I like to leave those pages intact because I really want to protect the sewing or the binding, because that is what's going to keep my book intact. So when I'm removing pages, I'm not removing those middle pages. I start from the beginning. So I usually like to keep the very first page because the very first page is usually in one piece with this piece here. I forgot what it's called. So I usually like to keep that page and maybe even the title page. Anyway, I might keep the title page, we'll see. And then you start removing. So just as an example, this book is full of stuff now, so you can't really see, but I removed more than half the book. So I went through the book once, removed pages, and then I went back through it again, because you can't have too many pockets in there, because then you know, this happens. And I don't mind this look, but you might not like it. So you can't really fit that many pockets. So all together for this book, not counting the first 2 pages here, all together, when I removed all of the pages, I had 45 pages left. And that's what I'm going to do for this book as well. I'm going to leave 45 pages. I just want to be exact, okay? I actually had a little bit more in this book because I was doubling up my pages. So here you will see this pocket here, it's just one pocket, but I wanted to make it really strong. So I was actually doubling up my pages. So it's actually, I mean, that could be a pocket as well. I could fold this down and that becomes another pocket. And this is the beauty of this project. You can do all sorts of things. You can do all sorts of different folds and pockets and stuff, okay? So I did leave a few more pages in this book, but I do find that, you know, for this, the one that I'm making today, I don't want to have this to this extent. It will still open a little bit, but I don't want to maybe this much. So I'm going to remove pages from here, and I'm only going to leave 45 pages. And so I just start this is the middle of the signature because the sewing was on the inside. And I'm actually leaving this page. I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to remove the one that's next to it. This side and this side. So I'll start here. And then the other side should come off really easy. There we go. And I'll just go through the whole book. And I'll be right back. So find the middle, leave those 2 and start removing on the side. And I do want to also say again, when I'm removing the pages, I am being mindful and gentle. I don't want to kind of yank those pages out, because then I can start ripping, you know, the pages that I want to keep. So, you know, I'm taking my time. Oh, look, I feel so bad for this book because, look, this is a book that's been discarded by the library. It's so old and faded. Maybe you can't see it in the video, but it's discolored and it has never been read. Look at this. These 2 pages, obviously it's not a great job, so maybe it was like, I don't know, a seconds or something, I don't know. But look at this. This book has never fulfilled its life potential. It's never been read, not once. And it was published in 1984. Well, now it gets to have a second chance of life. I'm just gonna open that. I might just read a few sentences to make it feel better. There we go. I read half a page. See, like all of these pages, they're still like, obviously this was a bad batch of books, or maybe a bad one book. Oh, lucky I'm removing this page. And people get angry and leave me comments for using books and like ripping up books. But look at this one. It has not fulfilled its destiny. So I can see I'm already almost halfway, and I didn't remove nearly as many pages as I need to. I would rather do that than remove too many pages all at once. So, you know, I kind of go through the whole book and then I go back and keep removing pages. So 1984, how long ago was that? 36 years ago. And this book has never been opened. Imagine, just sitting on a shelf, never been opened. Imagine the liberation it feels right now. Freedom, look at this. I am free. And I will use all of these up, of course. There's one more little thing to keep in mind, which I forgot to mention. You can see here how I'm removing pages. And you can see here, those 2 pages are kind of glued together a little bit there. The 2 pages that are joining the new signatures together. I want to leave those pages intact. I don't want to be ripping into that glue. And you can easily tell, and I'll show you how. I'll bring it closer in a moment, but I'm leafing through my book, middle of the signature. You can see how the pages open up nicely and completely. When you get to the pages that are glued together, like these ones here, they don't open all the way unless you kind of unglue them a little bit. So those pages that are slightly glued together, I'm leaving them intact because they add to the structure of the book. I don't want to be messing with that. If I accidentally remove some of those pages, it's no big deal. If you wanted to make sure that the book stays as strong as possible, then try and leave those pages intact. This is the one I should have shown you because this you can see it the best on this one here. See here how it opens fully and completely. And then the next one, the pages are slightly glued. Look at that. Those are the pages I like to keep. So I'm nearing kind of the, most of my book that I've been through. And so now I need to keep removing pages. I would much rather remove the pages from the middle that I was keeping at the start, these pages, than those pages that are glued together. So if I'm to start removing those middle signatures, I would do it like this instead of ripping it out that way. I would really take my time and be as gentle as I possibly can to make sure that thread doesn't snap. I try to avoid a mistake if I can, but then when a mistake arises, there's fixes, always. Here we go. I have removed all of my pages and I just want to show you how many I've removed. So I've definitely removed 2/3, I would say. You can see it better here. So I would say definitely more than half, 2/3. And I have left 46 pages in total here. You can see when I shut the book how sort of thin it is. I could probably remove more pages. I probably would. So because I'm recreating this book and I'm making 42 pockets, I am leaving 45 pages. It doesn't matter. You don't need to count. You can just, pull some pages out and start making pockets. Don't overthink it. I think the most important thing is I just want to point out, if you look at my spine now, you can see that I have the same amount of pages going across the spine. So I don't have a lot of pages here and then very sparse pages here. Because we want to keep that integrity of the book, by removing the pages, we're already lessening the integrity of the book. And now we're going to be placing things inside the pockets. So we really want to make sure that there's as much strength left in the book as possible. I don't know if I'm overcomplicating things by pointing out all of these little bits of information, but if you're, planning to make these and sell them, for example, in your Etsy shop, because I think they are great. Like, I would love to buy something like this, and I'm going to be putting this in my Etsy shop. So if you are planning on doing something like that, you really need to make sure that the book is still structurally sound. You don't want things to be ripping out of the book. So those are the details that matter. All right, let's get started with folding some pages. Okay, so to recreate this book, I need 45 pages in total. I've left 46 pages in this book just because I can't remove just one page. It has to be 2 pages at a time. So I have 46 pages here. That's an even number. And I might see, what I'll do with that extra page. All right, let's begin. So firstly, I just wanted to say, when I started doing this project, I had an idea that I'm going to sew my pockets together. And I did start sewing. You can see the first 3 pages I've started sewing, but 4 pages. But I actually gave up on that idea very quickly because it was so difficult to sew a book with my sewing machine and maneuvering things around. So in this tutorial, I'm only using my glue, and I think that's a better way to go. I have a diagram here. I'm going to leave this at the end so you can copy it or take a screenshot. And we are starting off, and we're going to go in order. So we're starting off with this first one here, and it's pretty self-explanatory how you do this one. So you grab the first 2 pages of your book and then you cut a diagonal slant like this. Of course, you can just fold that down, but I decided to just cut a diagonal slant for this first one. So you grab your first 2 pages and you just cut a diagonal slant on the first page and you leave the second page intact. I actually cut it right through the first 2 pages, but that's okay because I have that 1 extra page to work with. So I'm just going to pretend that I didn't cut a slant through the first 2 pages. So I'm going to pretend that's just 1 page, and this is going to be my first pocket. So I'm just going to distress a little bit here. You don't have to do this, but it's easier if you're going to distress your pages. It's easier to do so before they're actually glued down. And then you simply glue this to that. So because I made that mistake, I'm just going to glue these 2 pages together to pretend it's just the 1 page. Because I'm recreating this book that I have already made, that's what I'm going to do, just to keep things simple. And now, because we're creating a large pocket here, you just need to glue these 2 sides to the back page. Okay, and that's my first pocket. And because again I'm recreating this book here, I've done exactly the same on the second page, and I'm going to do exactly the same here in this book as well. But then I also added this corner little pocket here just to make it a little bit different. So I'm gonna go ahead to my next 2 pages, and I'm gonna do it properly this time and just make 1 cut on one of the pages, not both, and just glue it down. This pocket here wasn't counted in the 42 pockets. So this was done when I started embellishing and adding things. So for this book, I'm just going to leave this page as it is. And one thing to keep in mind as well, when you're gluing your pages, I want to show you something. See how I've glued this here? And then when I turn the page, this kind of wants to come out. So basically, I actually left a little bit of drying time in between. I'm not going to today because I'm doing the tutorial. But when I was making this book, I would glue the pages down and just wait a little bit to make sure that that stays where I want it to stay, because I don't want it to glue incorrectly. I don't want these pages to be sticking out. All right, so I just realized I made another mistake. I accidentally left a whole page in between my first 2 pockets, but that's okay. I will come back to this page. When it's time to make this pocket here, instead of doing it here, I'm going to do it here at the beginning, so that's okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. So the next one is this one here, and you can see you have 1 pocket here, and then you have 1 pocket here. So for this page, I need 3 pages for this pocket. And on my diagram, that's this one here. So now I'm going to be a little bit more careful, and I'm going to grab 3 pages. I might put a paper clip here so that I know not to grab the wrong page. All right, so we have 3 pages. So I'm going to find the approximate middle here. And maybe I want to cut up to here. So I'm just going to actually use my ruler so that I have nice straight lines when I'm cutting. We're leaving the last 2 pages intact, and we're only cutting this little triangle out on the first page. There's my pocket, and then there's my pocket. So now I just need to glue these 2 together, and I'm just gluing the top and bottom. So there's that back pocket, and now I'm gluing the top and bottom onto that. Here we go. So see, we have 1 pocket here, and then we have 1 pocket here, and I'm just going to give this a little bit of time to dry. But you can see in this book I actually sewed them together, and I wouldn't recommend it because it just didn't go too well, but this is what we want. And you can play around here. You can, if you want to, you can even cut, now that you have a pocket here, so that it's obvious that this is a pocket. You could cut maybe a smaller triangle here, or a little circle here, or a semicircle, I mean. But because I'm recreating the book that I've already made, I'm just going to leave it as it is. All right, so that's that one. Okay, so for our next pocket, this is a split. So you can see I have a smaller pocket here, and then I have this large one here. So for this next one, we need 3 pages for this section here. All right, go back to my book. I'm going to choose 3 pages. The back one stays intact, so we've got 3 pages. The back one stays intact. We're leaving it as it is. This one here, I'm going to cut in half somewhere, like maybe around here. See how I did this here? So let's get to cutting the first 2 pages. And before I start cutting, I want to make sure that the pages are nice and aligned. And I'm going to cut here somewhere approximately, try and go in a straight line all the way to the spine. Okay, first we're going to work on this one here. So you can see I have a little semicircle, so that's what I'm going to do. This is going to be my pocket, and you can play around with how you want to decorate it. You can just do this by hand, you know, whatever works. And now I'm just simply going to glue top and bottom. Applied my glue and now just glue it together, and there's my pocket. And see, if I turn it now, see how it's starting to stick out. So I would much rather leave it in place where how I want it to dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to work on this one. And this one is pretty self-explanatory. There's two pieces here, and I'm simply going to glue them together. And now I'm gluing this piece to this page here. And just for visuals, we've created this one here, and then we've created this one here. And on my diagram, I wasn't sure how to kind of draw the, you know, the split and then this one here. So on my diagram, you can just see this one here. Oh, there's just so many variations to this. That's why I decided to just recreate the book that I made. And then once you start cutting into a book and making pockets, all of these different variations and ideas will come to you. Here we go. So that one's done. Now for the next one, we just need 2 pages. This one's pretty simple, self-explanatory, but I'm just getting 2 pages. And now I'm going to make a pocket. So I'm folding this one down, creating this pocket here. And then, you know, you can have a pocket in there, but this is what I mean, that once you start making it, the variations, you know, I'm just going to glue this down so it's not moving around. Glue it to itself, and then just apply a little bit of glue here and glue it to the back. And when I'm making pockets, if I'm going to distress, which I am, I'm just distressing the bits that will be difficult to distress afterwards. I'm not distressing the whole book. I can do that later. But because this is going to be glued down, this pocket, it will be very hard to kind of come in and try and distress the edge over here. But I can very easily distress all the rest. All right, so we've done this one. Now we are moving on to this pocket here. And on my diagram, that's that one there. And for that pocket, we need 2 pages. So this one's done. Now I'm moving right along. I'm gonna get 2 pages. So what I've done with this one is I simply cut it to make it shorter, just to make it a little bit different, you know. And then just cut in here, but not all the way to my binding. All right, so we're making a shorter pocket, and now I'm going to cut a slant, just approximate. I didn't do a very straight line because it's difficult to do this standing up, but doesn't matter. I've used my punch for the opening here to indicate that that's a pocket, but because I kind of didn't cut that very well, I'm going to just maybe do something like this. I'm just cutting the first page. Here we go, that looks okay. And now, once again, just gluing them together, just the side and the bottom. All right, there we go, that's that pocket. So I just wanted to mention that the glue that you use, it doesn't really matter what glue you use. I wouldn't use double-sided tape. Because, you know, when you're putting things in, it can get stuck in the double-sided tape. So any glue you have will do. Maybe not glue stick, because that's not going to hold very well. You want a strong glue, you know. Okay, so our next pocket is this one here. For this one, we need 4 pages. We're making this. So I'm going to select 4 pages. In my very poorly drawn diagram over here, that's this one here that we're making. I have 4 pages. First, I'm going to make this pocket, and I'm simply going to fold the first page in on itself. And I like to fold the pages in rather than cut, because that gives the pocket more sturdiness. And I'm just going to straight away glue that in on itself. All right, so that's the first one. That's this one here. Now we're going to do this one here, the second one. So we're doing the same thing, but I'm not going to fold it all the way in half, because then you can't see it. I'm going to have it stick out a little bit. So maybe I'll fold it about there, about here, let's say. And I'm going to glue that in on itself, on the inside. So we have the first 2 pockets there. Then we have a page that stays intact. And then our 4th page is this one here. And we'll do the same thing with that. We're just going to fold it in on itself. So you can see the pockets here and the pocket at the back. And then what I decided to do in this book, instead of gluing, because I wanted this middle, I wanted it to be sealed. So I decided to go in with my embroidery floss and my needle and just sew it instead of gluing it. And that's what I'm going to do here as well. And I think having that variation in there with a little bit of sewing makes it more fun. I'm just going to pop something in there because I don't want to poke holes where I don't want them to go. I've got some embroidery floss here on my needle, and I'm first going to poke some holes. So usually I would just eyeball it, but because I'm filming, I'm gonna mark where I'm going to poke the holes, and I need even number of holes so that I start and end at the same side. And you can see they're not even evenly spaced, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to do the same here in the middle. So I marked my holes. You can't see, but it doesn't matter. You don't really need to see. And I'm just going to poke those holes now. And I'm just going to do one on camera and then I'll do the rest off camera. So basically I'm going to tie a knot on my thread at the end. Maybe a double knot or triple knot, big enough so that it doesn't actually go right through the hole that I made. Here we go, my knot. And now I'm going to grab my pages, all 4 of the pages. And I'm going to start at the back here because you can see here the knot there and then a knot there. So I'll just weave the needle through. You need a needle that has a large enough eye for whatever thread you decided to use. Let's start here. So I'm starting at the back and the knot stops there. And then I'm just going to weave through all the way to the top hole. Here we go, and when you have an even number of holes, you start and end at on the same side. So now I'm just going to finish off by making a knot here. And I'm using my pokey tool to make sure that knot is right there, flush with that hole. It's nice and tight. And there we go, and I'm just going to trim that off. So there's lots of different ways you can do this, but that's just the way that I did it. And there we go. Look, when you're looking at it like this, it doesn't look very appealing. None of this looks very appealing when you're just making it. But once you fill it up with stuff and you put ephemera in there, decorate the pages, it all comes together. All right, so now I'm going to do exactly the same thing I've done here on these 2 as well, and then I'll be right back. All right, and there we go. That's that one done. Now we're going to move on to the next one. So for this one here, we need 4 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I'm getting my next 4 pages ready. In my diagram, this is the one we're working on next. So the first page, I'm going to fold in on itself from corner all the way down to a corner. This is a little bit fiddly business here, but it can be done. So maybe it's easier to do it this way and then fold it back the other way. Or another way to do it is use your ruler, line the corners up. I'm actually leaving a tiny little bit of space up the top. It will all make sense. Just bear with me for a moment. Line the ruler up and then just fold your page up. Or if you have like a little bone folder like this, that will help you as well. There we go. The fold is in there. And I'm actually keeping as much of this page as I can just to give that pocket sturdiness. You can fold it down and then cut off whatever's in the way. All right, so that's one pocket folded. And then I've got all of this excess here that's in the way. So I'm just going to trim off whatever's in my way. And it doesn't have to be pretty because you can't see it. You can make it simple if you want and just, just cut that bit off. But I like to keep it as sturdy as I possibly can. All right, here we go. That's the first one. So I'm just going to glue that in on itself just so it's out of the way and I can keep working on the next part. That's one slant done. Now we have to do the same with this page here. You can see one slant done, and now we have to do the same with the next page. So the next page is going in the opposite direction. See how I've created that slant? I'm going to fold that in on itself and removing all of the excess. Okay, see that coming along? I'm just going to glue this down on itself. So basically, I'm just making sure that the entry point of your pocket is as sturdy as possible. That's why I'm not cutting, I'm just gluing, I'm folding and gluing it down on itself, just so there's that reinforcement there. And then, so that's the first page, second page, third page stays intact. We've just done these two, and now we're doing this one, very simple. We've done that one before. So this one stays intact, and then this fourth one we're making a pocket with, so I'm just gonna fold it in on itself like this, and that's gonna be my pocket. So once again, gluing that down on itself. All right, so now we have made the pockets, but now they have to be glued together. So I'm gonna start with this one here, glue it to the base, just up the top. That's glued to my base. Now I'm gonna do the same here. Just down the bottom, glue it to the base. There we go. Now the best thing to do would be to leave this to dry in place, but I am doing a tutorial, so I'm just going to keep going. And now with this one, of course, self-explanatory, we're just going to glue the top and bottom, leave that opening for a pocket, and we're going to glue that to the base. And there we go. All right, so that one's done. Let me just make a note here. I have, when I was embellishing, once all of the pockets were made, when I started adding things to the pockets, when I was embellishing, that's when I added these strips of paper. And you can see this one here, it doesn't even go all the way at the end, to the end, it stops here. So you can do your embellishing as you're going, or you can do it all at the end, which is what I did with my book. All right, so this one's done. Let's move right along to the next one. All right, so the next one we're going to do is this one here. It's a split page, and we just need 2 pages for this one. Really quite self-explanatory and simple. I don't think I even put it on my diagram. I'm just gonna grab 2 pages, and I'm gonna make a split somewhere. Doesn't matter where. Maybe I'll do it here. Just make sure my pages are aligned. All right, that's it. So I've just split them, you know, and now I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to make a little pocket with this one, but I want to do a little opening here. And now simply just glue top and bottom to that to make the pocket. All right, here we go. Okay, that's that one done. Now with this one here, I just did a little slant. So once again, I'm not cutting. I'm just folding it down, and here we go. As simple as that. Okay, and I'm just gonna glue this side here and here. And there we go. There's that pocket. Moving along. All right, we've just done this one. And now we're doing this one. So this one here has 2 pockets, one here and one here. And for this one, I need 2 pages. All right, I've got my 2 pages. And now what we're going to do, I'll just show you so you can see it again. First, we are making this fold here, and then we fold both of them up. It will all make sense. So let's make this fold. I'm going to fold it in maybe about like that. And you know me, I like to glue it down straight away so it stays where I want it to. So that's the first page. You folded it down like that, and now you grab your next page and you fold both of them up. Here we go. Here we go. So you fold one down and then both of them up. I'm going to distress here. This is one pocket here. This is the second pocket here. You have 2 pages here, and you can, if you want, make that into a pocket, but I don't think that I will. So I'm just going to glue these 2 together. All right, so we've folded that up, and now I'm just applying glue here, but on the inside, down here. So I've got my glue down the bottom, right there, and I'm just simply going to glue it up. There we go. So on my diagram, that's this one here, but I forgot to draw the first pocket that we made. So that's a pocket and that's a pocket. All right, so for the next one, this one is also very easy, self-explanatory. I'm just doing like a ripped effect, you can see here. That's quite a nice effect. And for that one, you need 3 pages. And on the diagram you can see, so I'm just going to rip the first page and then rip the second page a little bit larger than the first page and then glue them down. So let's just go ahead and do it. All right, there's my first page. Now the second one has to be larger than the first one, or longer, so that it's visible, of course. Oh, don't want to rip the wrong page. Here we go. That's looking really cool. And distress. And there we go. And now I'm simply going to glue them to my base. This is my base. And I'll go in order from this larger one. Glue it down. And then this smaller one. Glue it down. And there we go. All right, the next one we're going to do, we need 3 pages for this one. This one's quite fun because we have one little tuck spot in here, or a pocket. Then we have one here. Then we have one here. And then we have another one here. So 4 pockets, and we need 3 pages for this one. All right, here we go. So I have my 3 pages ready, and I'm going to start off with this first one, and I'm going to fold it down. Move it out of the way for now. And now this one here, I'm folding this one up. And the third one stays just the way it is. And here we go. I'm just going to distress, and then I'll show you how to glue them down. So I'm going to start gluing onto my base. So I'm going to glue this one first, and I'm only gluing the top here. Just the top. So that's going to be my large pocket. Now this one, I'm going to glue just here on the side. So I need to apply glue onto the bottom of the page. And that creates one pocket there. And now this one here, I have to glue the bottom to the base. There we go. I've glued the bottom to the base. And now this one here, I'm creating a pocket here. And I'm just gluing it here. And there we go, very simple, easy and quick. So we have one pocket here, one pocket here, one pocket here, and one large pocket here. I do have to mention, especially when you're working with a lot of folds and pockets like this, it's best to leave it to dry. I was kind of taking a break in between, so I would glue it down and just let it dry like this. Because if I keep moving to the next page, then these pockets are not really, you know, things are going to start moving. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're gluing your pockets. And at the end of the video, I will do a flip through and show you what I've put in pockets to give you an idea. Now for this one here, this one's pretty self-explanatory. And because I made that mistake at the beginning and left one extra page here, I'm going to do that pocket here. So all it is I'm folding it back on itself. We're just making a little like a little pocket like this. So a narrow, real narrow, long pocket. And I have this piece of, it can be a journaling spot or bookmark, whatever, you know, in there. And before I glue it down, I want to make a little half circle punch here, just so it's easier to put things in and out of the book, or the pocket rather. And there we go. And now to glue this down, obviously you want to leave that as a pocket. So I'm just going to glue the side here and the bottom down. But because it's already a narrow pocket, but just be careful, don't put too wide a glue, maybe just on the edge. And there we go. So I've just applied glue on the edge there and down the bottom. And you might have noticed I didn't fold the page all the way to the center, because it's easier to turn the page if you know, leave a little bit of space in there. And that's this one here on my diagram, and this is the one we've just done before. All right, the next one we're going to do is this one here. So for this one here, I have a pocket here and then a pocket at the back as well on all 3. So for this one, we need 3 pieces of paper or 3 book pages. And here we go. So first thing I'm going to do, first I'm going to fold this in the very first page. And once that's folded in, I'm going to grab all 3 of my pages and cut them so that I create, you know, this fun interactive part in the book. And try and keep your pages, if you can, all aligned. I'm gonna eyeball it, but you can measure to have 3 exact same pockets. Okay, here we go, and now you have all of these floaty pages like this. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna just cut the half circles here, just to indicate that that's a pocket there, and then I'll start gluing things down. So I'm leaving the base, I'm not touching that third paper. All right, so I'll show you the first one here. We've got one that's folded, one that I've done the punch, and then the base, which is left intact like this. And now we've created those 3 pockets, and I just have to glue them down. And once again, for sturdiness sake, I left these, I just kind of folded these ones down. I didn't cut them, so I'm just gonna glue them. Just a little bit of glue on those first bits. Here we go. And now I'm gonna glue top and bottom of each of these first little pockets. All right, that's the first one done. And now this one and the third one. All right, there we go. And now I need to glue this part to this part. I'm leaving that a pocket. So once again, I'm just gluing the top and the bottom. All right, that's my first one. Here we go. Make sure everything is aligned. And here we go, that's the 3 pockets there. So I might just wait a little bit for this to dry before I continue. So I just want to show you something. Because of the nature of this book, and we're gluing all of these pages together, you might find that some of the pages or pockets that have a lot of folding and pockets, they kind of, if you try to open the book, it kind of, because things are glued in, they kind of bulge, or they're not sitting, you know, properly. And that's just the way it is with this type of thing. You can see this one, how it's bulging up. The same thing happened even when I was waiting for the glue to dry with this book when I was making it. You can see here, I'll show you this one. When I try and open it, it bulges a little bit. So once everything is filled up, all of the pockets are filled up, it's fine. Okay, so don't stress when you're making it, things are bulging. Like, there's this one here that I'm not entirely happy with, because it does bulge quite a bit because of my sewing here. Something went wrong, it doesn't matter. But once everything is filled up with stuff and the book is, you know, full of goodies, it's not a problem. And even this one, you can see it's, I mean, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but it's not sitting flat, like it's curling up here. I didn't really wait for the glue to dry because I just want to finish filming. But once this book is filled up with things and embellished and everything, it's going to look perfect. All right, now that we have finished that one, let's do this one. This one also, it's not so functional like the other pockets. You can have bits and pieces in there, but it just looks so cool in a book. So let's do this one. For that one, you need 2 pages. All right, so I have my 2 pages ready. And basically, we're just going to cut off the corners here and here. So probably best to find the middle. So I found the middle, and then you can even, if you want, just to make it more exact, you can draw a line from that corner here to the mark that you made, and then cut off those corners. You can do them at the same time or separately. I think I might do them at the same time just to be quicker. Here we go, and I've just cut that into a triangle, and now I simply meet them in the middle and make a fold, and make a fold on this side. And then before I glue it down, I'm just going to distress these bits here because they'll be glued down, and then it will be hard to do it. And you can see that they're not actually meeting all the way because of the fold. We need to leave space in there. And now I'm simply going to apply a dot of glue just here and glue it down. And there we go. That's that one. And on my diagram, that's that one here. So you have these slots to slide some tags in or whatever, you know. All right, that one's done. So now we're moving along. This is here a decoration. So for this one here, we just need 1 page, and it's pretty simple, right? You can already see what it is. I'm just taking 1 page and I'm folding it up. And now I need to glue this side down because that's going to be my pocket. So I'm applying glue here just along the bottom. There we go. And that's that one done. See? It's when you add things that everything comes together, you see? I have a tutorial on these paper clips, bow paper clips. And you know, I use up all of this. I'm going to use that in projects. So anyway, we'll go through all of this when I do the flip through. The next one, I'm repeating that tag one. See? It's a journaling spot. I did some sewing around. So you already know how to do that one. And I just need one page. I'm going to fold it in on itself. I'm not going all the way to the spine. I'm leaving some space there. Punch that little half circle, distressed a little bit, and now I have to glue it down. So just a little bit of glue just there along the side and down the bottom, and glue it down. All right. The next one in my book is this split page one. So we just need 2 pages for this one. We're nearly at the end. So I'm going to grab 2 pages and I'm going to just cut them both just like that. Here we go, 2 pages. I've cut them. The first one is going to be a pocket. So I'm just folding it in on itself like this and making a pocket here. And then this one will be a side pocket here. So I just need to do that. So this one I'm gluing in on itself again for sturdiness sake. And I think you know what's coming now. We're just going to glue the sides onto the base. And then this one here, so that's my pocket there. That's this one here done. And now I'm going to glue this one to its base to make that side pocket. So just top and bottom. Okay, and that one's done. And now just 2 more to go. Now I'm doing this one here. So I just need 1 page. And I'm going to just fold it in a little bit like this. So simple and easy. We've done this a million times before. And just glue top and bottom. There we go. So I'll just show you here. This is a corner book page. I have a tutorial on this, and that's your pocket there. So it's just adding little things, you know, to make it special. And now this is our very last pocket, and it's quite obvious what we're going to do. So let's finish this off, shall we? My very last 2 pages in the book. I'm not entirely happy that this is the last page, but that's just the way it is. And now I'm just going to cut. So I have 2 pages left, and I'm just cutting the very first one to make that opening for a pocket. Once I come to this page to embellish it, you know, it will all look really nice. So I'm just gluing top and bottom to make that side pocket. There we go. And there we go. All of our pockets are done. There is in total 42 pockets. And you can see the difference of just making the pockets and then having a whole finished book that's embellished and that's filled up. It's looking a lot more fun, right? When it's all done. So now that we have completed the tutorial, I'm going to do a quick flip through of this one just to give you ideas on how you can embellish the pockets and what you can put inside the pockets. And I will start off by showing you the cover. So basically, this was just a book. I left the spine as it is. I didn't cover it. I really liked it. I added a little bit of gold accent onto the book and some corner protectors because it just makes everything so much more special. And then I put this image here, which is just from a book. So let's say, for example, what have I got here? Let's see. I can glue anything here to make it, you know, to make it look nice. I just basically took an image from a book and sewn around it and then just glued it down onto the book. So that's the cover. And then inside, I'll just show you what I've got in my pockets just so you can be inspired and what you can put in and get some ideas. I've got some lace over here to make it more special. I've got these little butterflies. I have a tutorial on this. All of the tutorials that I mentioned, I will link down in the description box below. Over here, once again, this is a page from a book, and I made it into a journaling spot by sewing on some tea-dyed paper. So that goes in there. And then here I also have a tutorial on this. This was like using album pockets to make things, you know. So anyway, that's in there. In the next pocket I have this tag. This is from a napkin, and I have a video on using up napkins to make tags and things like that. And then here is this corner flip up that I've added. So I didn't actually count this pocket in the pockets. This book has more pockets than 42, but I have a tutorial on these as well. I will link it down below. And then over here I was just making, you know, this is also from a book. Glued it down and sewn around, made a journaling spot. Same with this, also from a book. Added those gold corners, make it look special. And then in this pocket here, I just have a little, just some little pieces of paper in there. Embellished over here, put a little butterfly there. This pocket here has a little booklet. This is like a little treasure book, isn't it? This, you know. And then also here, same thing, just adding some pieces of ephemera. And the reason why I said I would buy a book like this, there's that little pocket there that, you know, have a doily here and a sticker, just some stickers all throughout. And then just adding things that I've made over the years that I have in my stash, an envelope, you know, scrapbook paper. So the reason why I would buy something like this from someone else is because obviously it's going to have things that they made and things that I don't have, and you know, it's going to give me ideas. And I think it would be so cool to make something like this, to gift it, to sell it. I think people would really enjoy it. I have some tags in here. These tags are all made from one 12 by 12 sheet of scrapbook paper. And then on the other side as well, tags. And then when I was making these tags, when I cut the corners off, I just glued them here. You see, it just makes it a bit more special. Then in this pocket here, I have some laminated flowers and plants and things. I have a video on that as well, so I will link that as well down below. All right, for the next one here, also from a magazine. I don't use digital prints, as you know. Then here I've added a little bit of lace. So it's simple things, you know, embellishing these pockets, and it doesn't have to be over the top. And just adding bits and pieces inside makes it look special. And then here I made a little booklet from offcuts, see? And it's perfect for those little pockets, those narrow pockets. You make a little booklet like this and just lives in there. And remember before I was saying the pockets, you know, are bulging and stuff, but once you fill them all up, then it fills that space and it's perfect. If you don't want to have a book with this many pockets and, you know, alligator mouth, then you would make less pockets. You would remove more pages. Here we go, a pocket here, and I've just got some journaling spots in there, and I decorated by putting a sticker down on here. This one here, again, a magazine image that I've glued and sewn around onto some tea-dyed paper. These ones here I've also made. Hang on, it's upside down. It's supposed to be this way. Just like a little ephemera booklet. And this can even be cut and used on a cover of a journal. So that goes in there. And then again here, I've just decorated with some stickers and then more journaling spots. There's another magazine image, and that's covered with contact paper, but it's matte contact paper. I have some lace here, I don't know if you can see, and this little tuck pocket has this, just a scrap piece of paper that I, you know, made pretty. Over here I have a doily with a sticker. I stamped some butterflies on this one here, and then I showed you this one. This was a leftover from this scrapbook paper when I was making these tags. So that's a good way to have cohesion in a journal or ephemera book like this, you know, when you're using same paper pad, I guess. All right, we have 3 pockets here, or 6 pockets actually, and then I just put some little pieces of ephemera you know. And then in these pockets I put these are Tim Holtz stickers and I don't know, quotes. Not his quotes, but you know. Okay, that's that one. And then here I just put a little butterfly, and then these 2 or 4 in this pocket as well. Some embossed beautiful paper. And then I just used my circle punch and punched out some circles and glued them there. I really like overall how this looks. And then over here I already showed you this one. I have a tutorial on these book page bows. They're paper clips, and anything you put it on, it just beautifies the whole thing. Like, it just makes everything look good, surprisingly. So that's in there. And then this one here, again, I showed you this one as well. So just a leftover piece of scrapbook paper, and I backed it onto some clear paper for writing and just placed this here, like a little border there. And then this one here, this pocket, I put some lace, and this was also left over from 12 by 12, and I made it into like a little booklet, and that goes in there. And then this is just some glitter paper that I love and use, and it makes every project, gives it a little bit of bling. Okay, so that's those ones. This one you've already seen as well. Corner, I forgot what I call them, but I have a tutorial on those too. And again, magazine or book page image made into a journaling spot, so that's that pocket. And then here is just a sticker, and then a large piece from a book. And there we go. This was a lot of fun to make, and I think it would be a lot of fun to receive as well. And this is just some washi tape as well. I did a video recently sharing these washi tapes from Washi Tape Shop, and I have a coupon code if you want to go and have a look. I'll link it down below. There's all sorts of different washi tapes. I actually got some more that I want to share with you. So yeah, this was a whole lot of fun to make. Please let me know what you guys think. As you can see, you know, making the pockets was fun, and then when you sit down and find things to put in and think about ways that you're going to embellish, it's just a whole process. I have to say, I really did enjoy it quite a bit. So now I have this book to finish off, and I'm going to put this one in my Etsy shop right away, and then this one when it's done and filled with all sorts of fun stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think, ask any questions, and I'm gonna pop this up on screen now. I don't really know how helpful it is just looking at a diagram like this, but hopefully, you know, you've seen the video, and if you don't want to forget sort of what we made, you have this diagram, you can take a screenshot. I didn't actually draw all of the pockets that we did, and there's many variations. There's many different things that you can do, things that I didn't do in this video. But in any case, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!